Coming up on today's 49ers Report, hope everybody out there is having a fantastic Sunday. I'm Chase Senior. Thanks for joining us. Latest on Trey Lance, fresh rumors on Kirk Cousins, and could San Francisco sign Isaiah Wynn as their future right tackle? It's all coming your way on today's show. Before we get started, though, where's the Niner Gang tuned in from? Let us know down in the comment section. We're coming to you from the Chat Sports Studios here in Dallas, Texas, where the Dallas Cowboys still have not made it to an NFC Championship game in 28 years, and I know that all of you are watching us from all across the globe. Let's begin here with Trey Lance. The latest on him continues to be one of the key talking points as far as trade rumors go throughout this offseason among all 32 teams in the National Football League. On Pro Football Talk, Mike Florio, Chris Simms talking about Trey Lance the other day. They both said they would not be surprised if the Niners take trade calls on Trey Lance if they're not already taking some of those trade calls. Now, Mike Florio is obviously the insider and the host of that show. Chris Simms has some sources out there. That term can certainly be used lightly. He's more so a color commentator and the football analyst, but a good conversation between those two. They also made the argument, and this is something that we've been talking about, and it's a popular talking point among a lot of fans out there, that Trey Lance, with what he's dealt with, the arduous start to his NFL career, it's been a roller coaster with the sporadic play, his availability, not beating out Jimmy Garoppolo, the couple of injuries, that he could really benefit from a fresh start and a change of scenery elsewhere. And for a young guy who's going to be 23 years old in May, you can see why he might want to go to a different organization where he can forget about all of the previous history, all of the talking points that have been following, some of the drama that has ensued. He goes to a new organization, fresh start, and he can kind of forget about that as a restart to his NFL career with a lot of, hopefully for him, good years ahead of him. And why we also continue to talk about these Trey Lance trade discussions is because John Lynch from the NFL owners meetings did not shut the door on a Lance trade last week. Now, we've talked about this quote a couple of times, but there's a lot of people out there who have not seen it. Here's what Lynch said. "We like Trey on our team right now. We always joke, Coach Kyle Shanahan and I, we'd trade each other if someone gave us a good enough deal. So we listen to everything, but we like Trey on our team, and we are very excited about the way he is progressing and about his opportunity." Now, what does that mean there? Let's dissect it in a couple of ways. We like Trey Lance on our team right now, is what John Lynch said. He did not say definitively that we like Trey Lance on our team in the future. He did not say, we love Trey Lance as an individual. We love him as a person. We love him as a player. We think that he can be a bona fide, absolute superstar. And if a team was dealing with a Patrick Mahomes, a Josh Allen, a Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, the list goes on among some of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL, what do you think that some of these coaches and general managers would say? They'd laugh in your face if you brought up the scenario in which one of them could get traded. And they would say, for sure, we are not trading that player. John Lynch didn't do that. He did not say, we are not trading Trey Lance. And that's why this flurry of conversation has ensued following his interview from the NFL owners meetings. I also want to get to this tweet from Larry Krueger, longtime sports talk radio host in the Bay Area, also has his own YouTube show right now. Check it out, does a good job over there, and is on 95.7 The Game too from time to time, a radio station in which I've made a couple of appearances on. And he said this, based on what I've heard from Shanahan, Lynch, Jed York, I expect Trey Lance will be traded during the NFL draft. My guess, he'll be dealt to the Titans for Malik Willis and a pick swap that gives the 49ers a day 1 or 2 pick as well. With that pick, they'll fill a major roster need with one of these options. Cue up tweet number 2. Michael Mayer, the tight end out of Notre Dame. Deonte Banks, the cornerback. Kalijah Kancey, defensive tackle out of Pitt. The edge rusher out of Northwestern, whose name is very, very confusing. Cody Mauch, the offensive tackle out of North Dakota State, and Isaiah Foskey, the edge rusher out of Notre Dame. He said, that's my opinion based on what I've read, based on what I've heard. And I here have been saying for months, it would not be surprising one bit if Trey Lance did get dealt by this organization, considering everything that's transpired. The 49ers moved up to number 3 to take him in the 2021 NFL Draft. He was known to be a project coming out of North Dakota State. The fact that the Niners are somewhat surprised about the lack of development is a little bit surprising considering how well run this organization has been. So there's that. He didn't beat out Jimmy Garoppolo. He had the knee, the finger injury in year 1. Then he had the broken foot injury in year 2. And then Brock Purdy comes along as Mr. Irrelevant, plays excellent football, doesn't lose a start until the NFC Championship game, which he didn't really lose that game because he went out very early in it. And now, if Brock Purdy is this team's future quarterback, is there a scenario in which Trey Lance has a future with this football team? Does John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan and the front office, the players on this roster, do they think that Brock Purdy is the franchise guy? If they have a belief that Brock Purdy is indeed the franchise guy, you're not going to have Trey Lance as a backup over the next couple of years. You're going to trade him away and get some type of value back because it also doesn't make sense to be paying a backup quarterback about $10 million. Now, for me, I'd give Trey Lance every single rep this offseason. I'd see what he can do. I'd see if he can rise up to the occasion and be that guy, if he can live up to those lofty expectations of being the former number 3 pick in 2021, because I like the character. I like how he carries himself. I like what he has going on in between the ears. I like the physical attributes, 6'4", 225, good athleticism, solid running ability, a really strong arm. He can layer footballs in there at all 3 levels, but also complete passes from sideline to sideline. I've liked what I've seen as far as the pocket mobility and pocket feel goes. If you go back and watch that Bears game and his other couple of starts that he's had in the NFL, he has sensed pressure around him. He's climbed up in the pocket. His eyes have stayed up. He hasn't reverted his eyes down to the ground level where he's looking to run. He still looks to make a play, throwing it first, running it second, and I think that you can build upon that foundation. The only negative with Trey Lance with a Super Bowl-ready roster is the fact that this team is locked and loaded, and it's chock full of premier players on really high contracts. They're built to win a Super Bowl right now. Can they wait for Trey Lance to go through some of these hurdles, to develop in time, for them to make a run this year? And that's really the predicament that this organization is in. He has 21 combined starts going all the way back to 2019, combined at the NFL level and at North Dakota State. He needs reps, but this organization hasn't given them to him, and he suffered a lot of injuries, which has taken that experience away from him. It's a very tricky scenario, but if Trey Lance gets traded, I won't be surprised, and I can see both sides. Lance wanting to go somewhere else, Niners wanting to move on to recoup some of that draft capital. So with that, will Trey Lance get traded? Why for yes and for no? That is today's poll question. And as you venture down to the comment section, please make sure you subscribe. Whether the Niners make a big move like trading Lance away or not, if they make a signing or not, we're here to talk Niners every single day. And I promise you, those of you who love the faithful, we will not disappoint you. That's a reason why we're north of 80,000 subscribers. To Kirk Cousins now. Are Kirk and Kyle going to reunite? Mike Florio with this on his show. There was chatter that the Vikings were trying to move Kirk Cousins at the NFL Combine. If they did after June 1, they'd save about $10 million, but then the question becomes, who's going to be their quarterback in 2023? Mike Florio also said the 49ers mentioned in the conversation because Kyle Shanahan, you know that emoji where he had the hard eyes? That's basically what Kyle Shanahan sees when he looks at Kirk Cousins. Here's what Florio had to say about that. There was some chatter, there was some noise among people within the broader league structure, not media, but people within the league about Cousins being traded to the 49ers. That was a hot topic at one point in Indianapolis at the NFL Scouting Combine. And this is funny for a couple of reasons, in my opinion, right? Here's the thing about Kirk Cousins. Year in, year out, Kirk Cousins is always up there atop the NFL in multiple passing categories. When you watch him in that 1 o'clock slot on a Sunday, he can sling it. The offense is able to matriculate down the field, and he can put up some serious digits. But while he puts up crazy numbers, Kirk Cousins drives you absolutely crazy in the biggest of games because he consistently craters under the bright lights. Tell me right now, one big moment, one clutch moment, one massive, massive game that Kirk Cousins has won in his NFL career. Oh, wait. What is it? There hasn't been one. And for a team like the San Francisco 49ers that is built right now to win a Super Bowl, is Kirk Cousins going to get you over the edge? Is there a massive gap between Kirk Cousins and Jimmy Garoppolo in a big spot? We've seen Jimmy Garoppolo play some clutch football. I haven't really seen Kirk Cousins play a lot of clutch football. Obviously, when it comes to the aerial attack, as you take a look at the numbers, passing-wise, there is a gap between Kirk Cousins and Jimmy Garoppolo. But with the eye test, arm strength, big moments, big playoff games, making deep playoff runs, who would you rather have in a big spot? Some people might say Jimmy Garoppolo over Kirk Cousins. Now, again, you put him in Shanahan's offense, I think he's going to be able to put up some insane production because you look at his last 4 years, 26 touchdowns, 35, 33, 29. The touchdown to interception ratio is always pretty good. But when the pressure is on, and if you insert him into the San Francisco pressure cooker, and you're in a big playoff game against the Philadelphia Eagles, Dallas Cowboys, Detroit Lions, the grouping of teams that I believe to be contenders in 2023, do you have faith that he's going to drive you down the field in order to punch your ticket to an NFC title game, a Super Bowl, and matriculate down the field 80 yards in a big spot? I don't have that confidence. So we've talked about a couple of quarterbacks here on today's show. If you could pick a starter for 2023, who would it be? Kirk Cousins, Brock Purdy, Trey Lance? Let me know. And if you want to interact with me on Twitter and Instagram, hit me up at Chase_Senior. I am going to Key West, by the way, on Friday with a couple of my homies. I'll be there for a weekend change, then heading to D.C. for my sister's engagement party. We're still going to be giving you content and shows here on the channel, led by yours truly, but maybe by the time you check in with me, I'll be sitting on a beach looking at some clear water, swimming with some dolphins. All right, let's round out with Isaiah Wynn. Bleacher Report listing the free agent right tackle as a Niners target in NFL free agency. And San Francisco still without that starting right tackle. Colton McKivitz, Matt Pryor, the two tackles on this roster right now. Isaiah Wynn is interesting for a couple of reasons. Here's what Bleacher Report had to say about him. There's a reason why he remains unsigned as the calendar turns to April. A first-round pick back in 2018 has not lived up to that pedigree. Durability has been a huge issue as Wynn has missed at least 6 games in 4 of his 5 NFL seasons, but when healthy. Capable player with 40 NFL starts under his belt, and he can play either tackle or guard. The Niners need an upgrade at right tackle after losing Mike McGlinchey, while Wynn needs a chance to rehab his stock on a good team. A short-term prove-it deal could make sense for both sides. It could make sense for both sides, and if you can bring him in, I don't understand what the loss would be in at least seeing if he can work out, if you can tap into that pedigree of being that first-round pick with a good offensive line coach and Chris Forster on a good offensive line that the Niners have outside of right tackle. I think Spencer Burford's going to take a leap. Jake Brendel was solid last year. Aaron Banks, Trent Williams. Isaiah Wynn, at least see what he can do. As for what he did do in 2022, he was injured. As we just said, 423 snaps, 229 pass blocking snaps, 9 penalties, 4 sacks allowed, 2 hits, 17 pressures. Overall Pro Football Focus grade of 54.6, pass blocking grade 52.8, run blocking grade 63.2, 9 games, 7 starts, had a foot injury to be specific last year. That's not ideal, but again, if you're paying a player very little money for the chance at high upside, I don't see what the downside would be in signing Isaiah Wynn, so I'm with Bleacher Report here of at least giving him a chance to see what he can do, but we'll see what the Niners also do in the NFL draft. And that's how we segue to our final question. Draft or sign a right tackle? I think they're going to draft one here. I don't think they're going to sign Isaiah Wynn, although I'd like to see it just to see what he can do. D for draft, S for sign. We want to hear from the faithful. Thanks for watching today's show. Don't forget to subscribe for daily videos here on the Niners.